something which other people were playing.
If you're a bad singles today, we are having a megacast here, looking at all the T1 versus RNG games. I have heard of these, but I have not watched these, so I saved them to watch them with you guys. And we're going to be going over whatever obviously is happening in the game, but also going to try at least to have a look a little bit at what exactly these people are doing in the game, because this is a very, very wild matchup. All right, let's dive in. So we have Graves selected here for T1, and Graves is a very, very contested champion. People do like Graves quite a bit in this current world. He has great jungle clear speed, incredible damage. He works very, very well with the champions that are currently strong, right? He works very well against the champions that are currently strong, and whenever there's a brawly type team comp, he is very, very good at shutting down a lot of them. He is a priority jungler, and here we see Heimerdinger coming out. Heimerdinger is a very, very interesting pick, and there are a lot of different variations with the Heimerdinger support. I have recently casted a video with a Heimerdinger support in a lane with, I think it was Kai-san, and in this one it has very special context because people have been thinking about the Heimerdinger AD carry and Ashe support as a little bit of a role reversal. So that has been played, and so this is a very, very wild card pick, and it is also pretty decent at beating something like the Aphelios, because Aphelios, he has a problem if he doesn't get priority in lane and if he gets shoved in constantly, which Ashe and Heimerdinger could potentially do. So we will probably see a good amount of focus here of T1 to try to get that bot lane pushing, and once it is pushing, it is basically a setup and forget lane, and Zeus will be and Owner will be able to focus on the top side with Zeus and play around Faker and Zeus in a very, very interesting concept. Okay, so when we talk about the bans here, obviously we have Silas ban coming out and LeBlanc. Those are very, very much targeted at Faker, who has been playing more supportive champions a lot of the time. Something that is also very, very similar with Xiaohu. However, this Silas ban might also be targeted at one of, I would say, Faker's scariest champions, because from what I've seen, I find his Silas to be the most impressive one. There are some other champions that he hasn't been doing so hot at. Alright, Rice being hovered here. Wouldn't say that Rice is very good here. So currently T1's comp is very, very slow, and it is a very, very... It's a comp that takes your resources slowly and strangles you for air, right? Where RNG's comp, very different. RNG's comp, much more explosive, wants to dive, wants to go aggressive, and free themselves out of the stranglehold that T1's combination has here. The Camille being hovered wouldn't really work with their theme, but it is a pretty decent answer to champions like the Akali, and definitely and most likely also Wei and his Viego. Now, the thing with Viego that we want to keep in mind as well is that for RNG, Wei has been one of the scariest members, right? Gala and Ming, definitely good laners, but not nearly as much of the identity players as Wei. As we have a Riven coming in here. Riven could actually work, but I don't think that Riven is actually very good here in this game, as Riven does struggle, and we're going back to the running. Okay, well, that means that we want to get level 3 to 7 priority in the top lane, and then basically give that up for a champion later in the game. Now we'll see how this one works out, as Breath and Wei, definitely a very scary comp for the Camille. There is a potential to dive Camille, because there's a lot of stun and damage together, which works very well. The problem that I see is there is not really a lot of synergy with Viego, and I wouldn't call Viego a super strong champion without synergies with him. Now, there's some champions that can stand up for him. Renington, for example, right? A pretty good one. Renington does a lot of damage, but he will never one-shot a target, right? So he does a lot of damage, and that allows Wei to jump in, pick up the kill, and then start the snowball, right? All right, so we do see... we don't see anything on the minimap right now. Okay, we do see a little bit of posturing here. Owner, everyone is protecting the entrances. And Heimerdinger is obviously going to be preparing a early invade, and he placed the turret down in the bottom first brush just to make sure that there's no Aphelios and Nautilus running in there and cheesing them, as yep, he is going to be going first. It is no coincidence that he is going to be going first, as Graves is pinging on the way here into the top side. Maybe there is going to be a little bit of skirmish happening here, interestingly enough, as Owner walks in here, and this is just the strength of Graves, level 1. Graves is a very strong champion, as Faker is going to bully out Wei, who has to leave, throws in a potion, and we have some good damage going on to Ming. However, the turret's not quite in range to attack the wave, which doesn't necessarily guarantee now a level 2, so we'll see how exactly that ends up happening. Faker did lose some CS for the transgressions. However, this obviously makes Graves very strong, right? Graves now picks up his chickens, and he could go to the blue side, or he could go through the mid lane, right? Deal a little bit of damage to Xiaohu, right? This is just kind of like a bit of a repay for Faker giving up some minions, and now he is going to rotate into the bottom side of the map, being able to pick up another camp, and then he has to pick up red buff as well, his second red buff, in order to be able to get to his bot lane. Now, the T1 bot lane is currently still ahead in levels, which means that there is not a lot of angle to engage here, but Carrier actually... Yeah, okay, it's totally fine, as Wei has decided to not gank bot lane. He is going to go into the mid lane here, but I don't think this is going to work out. Beautiful sidestep actually by Faker, but yeah, I wasn't expecting this to work out at all, as Wei is tracking the Graves correctly. He also knows his place, knows that he is not supposed to be able to contest the red buff from Graves, which is, by the way, Graves walking in, telling Wei to get the hell off of here. And you see how all Owner does is he bullies out Wei, because he knows he wins the 1v1, and so Wei just does not get to breathe as much as at least he would like to. Talking about not getting to breathe, Renington is a little bit deep in the position, but yeah, he does retreat, reads the situation correctly, and he is not going to fall to that, as Faker is building up a wave here, and he is going to crash this. I think he needed to push this a little bit faster, by the way, to be able to crash this wave, as building 2 waves is not possible anyway, but he is going to keep the wave out of the turret as much as possible, and so he is going to bully Xiaohu. Xiaohu, however, has a Doran's shield, and so the longer this match goes on, the more difficult it'll get for Faker to bully out Xiaohu, who currently is ahead in farm as well, which is very notable. Now, obviously, there has been the farm that was a problem to pick up, as Wei is going to go for a jump here onto Owner, but Owner just with that level 4, even the item lead, because of the recall that Wei has here is not enough, as Owner, I think, is going to grab that kill for himself. Going to place a ward, and he is leaving this lane for good. Now, he is going to share some XP here. And yeah, we are going to help Faker here push this out, as Faker will probably find a recall for himself here. Gold values, I don't know if they match up yet. I don't think so, actually. So he might stay a little bit longer to be able to get his gold and get his item. Yeah, he is staying another wave, as Wei being spotted out again by the Ash pick. And you see how all the pieces work together so well, right? Faker's Victor definitely being able to bully here the Akali, something that should always happen that way. In the Victor-Akali matchup is Victor having push constantly and being able to bully Akali. Wei tried to deny that, didn't really manage to. There wasn't enough space to grab the Victor. And beautiful sidestep. Did dodge the Shuriken as well. As Victor is behind in farm here, and it is actually more farm than he missed in the beginning. In the beginning, he missed 3 minions due to the pushing out of Wei. But now he is most definitely in a little bit of a bigger disadvantage here. 1 minion to be exact. Unless obviously Wei proceeds to miss some minions, but I don't actually think, because once Xiaohu does manage to get level 6, that is when everything gets a little bit more scary here for the Victor, and he has to respect the Akali quite a bit more. In these early levels, Akali's damage still falls, stands and falls with the, that is a German expression, by the way, with the Shuriken hits and the E-proc on that, the damage proc on that. So definitely quite a bit of room to maneuver by Victor, but still Wei becomes much scarier. One could say he becomes way more scary, as Owner is definitely working on bullying out Wei, and Wei is just wasting a lot of time. As Owner is still looking for Wei, he is going to pick up the red buff here. Wei does notice that exactly is going on. Pink ward is going to be placed. Akali is the first one to move. But if we are able to smite this, yes, Owner is able to smite this, does not hit level 6 here. However, red buff is a pretty big advantage, as Owner just going to walk into the crab, and this is into the chickens, and that is exactly, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly how you play jungle. An amazing start here by Owner, and that is exactly what I was talking about when I said that T1's comp just chokes the air out of their opponent, right? That is exactly what Heimerdinger Ashe does in lane. That is exactly what Victor does to Assassins. And that is exactly what Graves does to anyone who clears worse than him and is a melee champion that cannot 1v1 him in the early levels. I have learned that recently playing against a... He said he was a Grandmaster Smurf. Now, who knows? But he definitely did destroy me. He played Graves, I played Kiana, and he did exactly what Owner did here. He tracked me constantly, and he bullied me out also constantly. And my lanes did not move as much as Xiaohu and Gala and Ming. So, unfortunate situation there, as Victor again gets some easier and easier lane, because Xiaohu just moving to protect Wei more and more. Owner, by the way, gets bullied out here out of the jungle and has to take a little bit of a step back, but obviously, right, that just means that, oh no, now he has to clear his own jungle, can't just take everything away from Wei. Wei, who has hit level 6 just as Owner did. However, Owner probably on Krug's going to hit level 7 here, I would expect. He did do a lot of cross-map shenanigans, so I'm not 100% sure on the XP values. But yeah, no, he didn't hit it. Okay, so probably needs one more camp then. Actually, Wei and Owner much closer than you would have thunk. And Gala is holding up well. Gala is going strong, holding up well. Nautilus absolutely useless in this team combination, obviously. Not necessarily the best option here. However, he will later on provide some setup for Wei. As, yeah, no, once Owner shows up, this could be very difficult, as we all jump onto Zeus, and Zeus is out of commission, as Owner is going to grab the Herald. And that is exactly what I was talking about, right? As the, oh no, the reset is there. Beautiful play here by Wei. And that is exactly why people call Wei the carry of this freaking matchup. Triple kill here achieved for Wei, and he is back in the game. Owner now is behind. And ladies and gentlemen, let me also tell you another thing. This Herald has been picked up by Owner, so we are still going to be in a position where Owner and Zeus could take some plates, or Owner could give some plates to the victor. But I'm expecting a, well, let's say more coordinated effort here, maybe with a Heimerdinger roaming and already taking a turret shot. But yeah, you see here how the collective call is take out Zeus as quickly as you can. They do take out the Zeus. T1 Owner flashing and then out of position there, just slightly gets into range of Wei. Had he not done that, the snowball would not have happened. He just needed to be slower and play this more methodically, as barely Heimer is going to be taken down as well by Xiaohu as well. We definitely see the nerves there on RNG's side. Definitely are some nerves, but yeah, RNG. So Mr. Breathe is going to be taken down here by Zeus and Owner, who still have their Baron available. So the question is, are we going to use our Baron for this? I don't think so, as Wei is going to move in and take the Dragon. Very interesting. We see the matchup in the mid lane go backwards a little bit, as Victor did obviously lose and die as well in the mid lane. So he did lose at least one wave, but it must have been two. And Akali with 3 assists definitely got a good chunk of money on top of the advantage that she got when it just comes to the minion statistics, right? Gumayushi and Carrier, they are so far doing a solid job, but here we are now seeing a little bit of a scary situation in the mid lane, as Faker is going to be contested here. Faker is going to be taken down by Wei once again, and Wei is 4-0-1. He is the carry of this team, most definitely, and he is going to help Xiaohu push out this lane, get a very, very speedy recall. Actually, this is deluxe. This is a deluxe recall situation here for Xiaohu, as he is going to be able to hit the base almost at the same point and leave as Faker is, being that the recall is obviously 9 seconds with walking there. And Faker came up back in 7 seconds. Actually, we are going to hit the teleport as well. So we are in lane even before Faker would come there. I would have never spent my teleport there, to be honest. But I understand why Xiaohu did it. He wanted to look at Owner, have a look, see if he can do something with Ming together. Maybe grab another kill onto Owner and bring Wei further ahead. Because obviously Wei is still absolutely scary now, with the Divine Sundra here available for him. Now, still, I would say Viego becomes the scariest once he gets his Blade of the Ruined King as well. Divine Sundra, definitely a really, really good item, don't get me wrong, on him. But it he kind of doesn't have enough damage at that point. But once he gets Blade of the Ruined King, that is where things change, and he gets a lot of chase potential, a lot of damage. And the survivability of Divine Sundra is really multiplied into a little bit of an abomination of a champion. But still, Graves, very, very good against champions like the Viego, because Graves does do so much damage that if you jump in like Akali, like the Viego, even like Breathe, right, on the Crocodile, even if you do that, you are constantly running. Ooh, Zeus is going to get out, and this is a catch onto Wei. Yes, beautifully buffered there. The ultimate Wei is not going to get out, and Owner is looking for Breathe. Breathe probably taken down here as well, as the hookshot is going to come in, and that is a double kill here for T1. And Xiaohu looking, but he cannot do much as Faker is around as well. And the teleport evolution is coming in, so Akali at this point would have lost maybe 1 minion maximum and she would have her teleport, being able to teleport everywhere now, would actually be a pretty fortunate situation, right? After coming into the top lane like that, very solid job so far, in my opinion, as Faker does have the teleport to match anything that potentially could happen with the Xiaohu TP. As beautiful flash trade actually by Ming onto Gumayusi, and the next dragon is coming up in 1 minute and 20 seconds, which leaves Guma with 3 minutes of flashlessness even after the next objective. But the next objective is going to be coming up before his flash, and that means that Gumayusi is flashless for this dragon. We don't know how contested this dragon is going to be, as it is going to be a cloud dragon, so kind of not really the dragon that you're looking for, not really the most impressive dragon. So I'm not expecting this to become actual problem, but you know, it is a thing to consider, and definitely a thing for RNG to play around, as they have more threats than just the Nautilus flash here for Gumayusi at this current point. Alright, so we see the top lane still being very far ahead, as the jungles are pretty even, but Graves still doing the same thing. He is slowly choking out Wei, and Wei doing exactly what his champion wants to do, and that is flipping in and winning the flips, and just dealing a lot of damage and going straight for the throat. As I still think that Camille is not the best champion, but so far she has definitely worked out very well, and she is very good against the Viego and against the Akali, so I definitely understand. Although I wouldn't say that she fits well with the way that T1's team comp is going to play. I think that she definitely fits well with the champions that are going to be neutralized here, and that itself is already a pretty big advantage. Alright, T1 is giving up this dragon. It is only a cloud dragon, so that is exactly what I'm talking about. Faker looking for the flip. No flip available here. Faker also has the crown of the Shattered Queen, which is will give him a lot of protection against the Kali shenanigans, but then again, it will not really protect him from a dive like this one, as he is going to ultimate the wave. People are looking at him, and he is going to live. Beautifully done by Faker. He did ultimate the wave and Zonya to survive that, and he did, as we have already. T1 is knocking on the front door here of RNG. Actually, very far ahead this Camille is of her lane opponent, the Crocodile, right? And we definitely have to say, so far Zeus definitely doing a solid job. He got engaged on there earlier, and that is exactly the strength of the Renington Viego, right? They just pick out the target, Renington flashes onto it, W auto attack Q, and the target is not only locked down, but low enough that Wei usually can burst him down as well, picks up a kill. And from that point on, it all just snowballed out of control, as Wei going to make his way over to the top side, spots out a ward correctly. That is a very powerful ward back in that bush. A lot of the time people don't check it, don't find it, and you can have a lot of vision onto the enemy team by placing a ward there. Even a control ward, sometimes these only get found out as the team is contesting something like the Baron or something. So yeah, definitely so far we have to say T1 is doing exactly what their comp wants to do. They are slowly choking out the enemy team, slowly taking away the air. Now, they are not doing very well on dragons, which has been a result of the prioritization that they've had onto Zeus and onto the top lane. Zeus obviously definitely the champion in this team comp that needs resources the most. Victor does very solid damage if he's behind or ahead. Now he is definitely very well scaling, but with this build especially, he's not going to have a lot of damage here. Faker kind of just there to zone and push out waves, and you know, he is not going to be the revolving point of these team fights. I think those are going to be actual Heimerdinger damage. And then it's just going to be Owner and Zeus's damage as well. Kumayushi obviously assisting with those ultimates mostly. Probably still helping out, but not helping out nearly as much and not being as vital for the team fight damage here. As I think that Graves is going to do some of the most damage here. Alright, good choice by Graves here actually to pick up the Gore Drinker, as people are going to dive on top of him. And he is going to have multiple people around him at many times, right? With Akali, with the Renekton, and with Wei jumping on top of him potentially for any objectives. So very, very beautiful item build out of him. Obviously the Camille running Death's stance, so that is also as well a pretty decent choice if you look at it, as obviously she is going to be taking a lot of physical damage, and probably most physical damage.
Actually, don't try and fight it. You just look for
unless she locks down Akali, but even if she does, I don't think Akali actually wants to fight the Camille. So yeah, we'll see. As T1 looking for RNG a little bit, but RNG will be, or RNG Breathe will be able to retreat there. At this point, T1 not trying to do anything crazy. They're just kind of rotating, and they're trying to make plays wherever there is not the main amalgamation of RNG champions, as Wei is going to secure a Scuttle Crab onto the Baron. Gala picking up some more farm, and interestingly enough, actually Gala and Zhao, who are going to be sharing some XP, as Renekton is going to have to defend the bot lane here. No dive onto Breathe, and I have to say, I feel like T1 much more on point. T1 owner a little bit in danger, but he does miss the E, and here Nautilus hook goes wide, and that is probably game ending, or at least team fight ending, as Zhao, who goes back in, but he is going to be taken down here, and T1 Zeus will come out with, I think, 2 kills, if I'm, no, 1 kill. Okay, so 1 kill for the Camille. It was a 2-for-1, so it was worth it for T1, but I would say this was especially worth it because they managed to prevent what RNG was potentially being able to set up there, because had Nautilus managed to hit his hook onto Owner there, that would have been a very different fight, potentially with Wei being able to evolve a lot of stuff. So this arrow not necessarily the best, right? Hitting a pretty low value target. T1 Carrier already used his ultimate, so not much available anymore, as Graves flashes in and almost gets taken down here. The Victor ultimate does a very good job at zoning, as Zhao, who flashes in, secures a kill on to Owner, but that is all he wrote, and he jumps back out. And this is the problem, right? Is that had Zhao not pulled himself back in, had he stayed away, this would have been a 1-for-1 kill, 1-for-1 trade. Not particularly advantageous here for T1, but Zhao, who wanted just a little bit too much. As the teleport is going to come through here from Zhao, who, and RNG definitely seeing the win condition of trying to fight as much as possible. And we'll see if they are going to be able to do exactly that. As Carrier, obviously, pretty decent at setting up vision, not only with wards as a support, but also with his turrets, which have ridiculous value with the Rylai's. Not necessarily damage-wise, but just zoning-wise, right? They are a little bit of, let's say, a cracked-up version of saplings, in a way, right? And do much more damage, are much stronger. But obviously do not have the same range as Zeus. A little bit of an off angle here. Looking at the flank again as T1 owner. Yep. Makes the decision to disengage this. Heimerdinger, incredibly good and actually very creative what T1 does here. I believe that they managed to bait RNG into thinking they would do Baron. And now they are doing Dragon. because, yeah, RNG is going to lag behind in Intel and is going to not be able to rotate to the Dragon. And T1, interestingly enough, stops a fight with that, right? They prevent a team fight with that, a fight around Dragon, and they just get an objective for free just by starting the Baron and having RNG drop all their vision and really care about that objective, trying to stop them. And then they just walk away and take the Dragon. All right. And beautifully thinking ahead, actually, they have pushed out the waves on the outside as well, which allowed RNG to countertake one objective here, which makes a tower for a Dragon definitely a very, very worthwhile trade here for T1, especially as this would have been a soul point for RNG. No soul point being available here for RNG now means that T1 can afford that if RNG through some mishaps are in a better position, they can still give them one more Dragon and kind of just be fine with it, allowing them even more to go for this like 90%, 10% play, right? So I think what T1's comp wants to do is they want to prevent coin flipping, right? Because the coin flip, that is exactly what RNG's team comp wants, right? They want the chaos, they want crazy things to happen, they want people to be isolated with Aphelios, they want, you know, just madness to happen, people to have to focus on Akali while Wei gets free kills, and, you know, just all this chaos. That's what they want to happen, as T1 kind of just wants to slowly, as I said it many a time now, just slowly choke out the enemy for resources and just slowly win small battles, right, and just take them out and push them back and take their turrets and take the objectives, and then eventually they'll build up big enough of a lead to withstand the chaos and just all live. Because as they start falling, they won't probably stop falling to Wei, right? If Wei gets his first execute on Graves, that is an absolutely horrendous situation, because that means he gets all cooldowns, right? Q into the enemy, Q, W, auto attack, flash into the ultimate, takes down another one, and so on and so forth. So definitely have to prevent that, definitely have to try to build a very, very solid comp here, and that is exactly what Faker identifies and says, I am not going to be a carry when it comes to the damage, I'm just going to be there. I will do solid damage, I will place my W, I will place my R, I will place my E, and you cannot ignore me, but you also cannot focus me. Because if you focus me, then Owner is going to run circles around you and take you down, with Camille locking you in place. And so, carry obviously also quite vital to how this team comp plays and why Victor is allowed to deal considerably less damage, because this comp here, like Victor, the way he's set up is a burst mage, and the problem with Victor with this build is he would not be able to peel anyone off of him. However, with Heimerdinger and Ashe, he doesn't need to, right? And Owner as well, and Camille as well, he doesn't need to peel anyone off himself. And that is something that is, you know, more of a pro place thing, I would say, than it is a solo queue thing, really. Building these more defensive builds, because if you play this in solo queue, odds are that unless your team is very strong, odds are that you're going to find yourself alone versus something like the Akali, and if you cannot threaten her enough, then she is just over time going to take you down, right? So gonna have to get quite a bit of damage on a Victor in solo queue if you're on your own, but in this situation definitely not the case, as it seems like we are going for a Lichbane. Very interesting build actually. The crown into the Zhonya into the Lichbane leaves you with very, very little damage. I've done this sometimes when I was going up against a very, very fat assassin, but we are talking about something like a Talon here, right? We're talking about something like a Talon with 10 kills or something, where I go Zhonya into the crown, because usually I either go crown or I go Zhonya. I go crown versus something like a Kiana, right? These kind of champions. And then I build 1 or 2 damage items minimum and then go for a Zhonya. At least 1 damage item, as the ultimate is going to come out, but Wei is just going to walk out of it Faker doesn't really have a lot of value here with his ultimate, as there's not a lot of channels that he can interrupt except Aphelios's Q. So he can definitely interrupt the Aphelios channel on his, what is it, Severum Q, but obviously that isn't the highest value. But generally, Victor is pretty good against something like the Aphelios, as Aphelios obviously not very quick on the movement, right? He doesn't have his dancing shoes on. Well, in this one he actually does with the Gale Force, but if he doesn't have his dancing shoes on, he can be a sitting duck to Victor's damage, and Victor doesn't even need to do that much damage, as we have a stun coming through onto Breathe. Zeus looking for something, but not really anything happening. You really have to ask yourself, what was Guma Yushi? Is this just target practice? Is he just trying to keep his Ashe ultimate on cooldown, just kind of getting a stack and being like, oh, I'm gonna, you hit this one, yeah, perfect. I'm gonna deny RNG Breathe here. I'm gonna deny him a minion, and it'll take him 5 seconds. Camille obviously not in range to take down the crocodile there. Probably wouldn't have been able to kill him in the duration of Renekton just waiting out the Camille ultimate with his own ultimate and then running back to base. But maybe, potentially, as Faker is going to pick up a blue buff here. Still very low damage. Items here available on Faker, obviously 264 at 30 minutes. He is not even running very high farm numbers. So he's definitely not the richest guy, as he picks up a blue buff right before recalling instead of picking the blue buff right after recalling. Interesting decision, as he is going to get his Lich Bane and a M-Tome, which clues us into the fact that he did have enough damage. He did have enough mana, the gold to purchase for the blue buff. But his plan apparently to rotate into the bot side of the river here. And Dragon only coming up in 3 minutes, so there still is a lot of time, as Faker and Wei are standing in front of each other, face to face. Obviously RNG Wei is hidden by the mist here, and T1 is just not really trying to do anything crazy here, which I find very impressive actually. T1 holding back on something like the Baron, right? Because RNG is also kind of coaxing T1 into making a mistake here. They're saying, yeah, no, we are absolutely harmless. You can take the Baron if you want to. We are probably going to try to contest it a little bit, but not really wholeheartedly. But that is exactly the point, that is exactly what they want, right? You get a little bit lower from the Baron, as now we are starting off the Baron here. That is exactly what you want, right? T1 gets a little bit lower and Wei gets his executes, but so much damage to Baron, and it doesn't really matter, as Graves is going to pick up the Baron, and Zeus has to give his life. He did keep Wei out of the pit, so the Baron is going to be used, and that is one of the main Baron users gone now out of T1, so that is definitely a good angle for RNG here. Is they could have lost more, but the Baron timing, still a pretty useful timing, as the Baron buff is going to last just long enough so they can contest the Dragon. I'm sure that was not coincidental, right? As they were looking to pick that up. I understand why the Baron took so much damage. Carrier actually ulting the Baron as well to take it down quicker. As Zeus starting to fight with Wei and giving over a kill to Wei as well. And that is a little bit of an unfortunate situation for T1, but also it is huge, right, for T1 to pick up the Baron, because obviously that is just a lot of gold for T1 on everyone, for a slight loss, and quite a bit of gold actually for Wei here, as Wei is going to take a Hex Drinker into his build. He is also running plated steel cups, which he will need versus owner, so that does make a lot of sense. And Faker, obviously, now with Lich Bane, he is starting to deal quite a bit of damage. So through that slump that he had, now he will start dealing a lot of damage. he gets the Shadow Fire actually instead of a Rabadon, or instead of magic damage penetration. Actually he gets a Shadow Fire, which I find curious. I personally would have opted for the Void stuff at this point, not only because there are magic resist items on the enemy team, but also just because magic resist goes up and there are a lot of melee champions here on the enemy team, which obviously gain more magic resistance per level, right? So the more melee you have... Oh, Gumayushi is going to be taken down. He goes golden, and that is a WR. Not able to zone Xiao Hu out. And what was Breeze doing there? He just hit his stopwatch while being full life, as Faker is going to kite out the crocodile. And Xiao Hu is going to be locked down, but he says, I have a stopwatch. Beautiful timing here by Zeus, as they will just take down Gala, and they just waited for the engage and they punished the mistakes that were made. Breeze with an absolutely big blunder there, jumping in and expecting all the damage to come in. But his stopwatch prevented him from being able to take down Keria. And then Keria now has to use his ultimate as well, as we are looking for the throat here as T1 actually. No way that they can finish this, right? The Baron is about to run out here. Yeah, the Baron is about to run out. We know that because the Dragon was coming up and it was 30 seconds longer than the Dragon. Yeah, as the Baron has been disabled or has run out, and they will not be able to take the third inhibitor. Gala ultimate, but Gala will come out. Gala ultimate by Gumayushi and by the Victor, but he will be able to get out of that using his cleanse and his flash. A lot of resources blown, and Dragon is next on the plate. His owner is going to recall, and that means that T1 are left with Victor and Heimerdinger taking down this Dragon. Obviously Heimerdinger is amazing at taking a Dragon, can absolutely do that on his own, so it doesn't really matter. As Wei here we see, right, the hook actually pretty good, Wei in a decent position here, but now look at what exactly Faker manages to zone out Wei, and Wei just absolutely useless. He does respect the Zeus, and Breeze just not really doing anything. They're not able to take down Keria, as Xiao Hu uses a second ultimate and thus is not able to contest neither Faker nor Gumayushi, nor help out killing Zeus. So absolutely unfortunate situation there, and you can only guess how much better this fight would have been wasn't there a Renekton in the red team. If there was a different champion, maybe a champion that is, well, a champion that is better at dealing with something like the Camille, right? And so yeah, it did give them a early kill, and an early triple kill actually onto Wei, so quite valuable in that regard. But I believe that some other champions would have been able to deal enough damage there too, as T1 is going to posture to take the last inhibitor. There is no turret stopping them. However, there is Gala, who still is a little bit of a threat here. Because of the way that T1's comp works, it is going to be difficult for them to just take out Gala, right? So we'll see what exactly ends up happening here. Their best guess is obviously T1 Gumayushi's ultimate with Keria's ultimate, with Faker's ultimate onto Gala, take him out so he can't sustain. Owner going to walk into the top lane here. We're definitely pressuring RNG, but we're waiting, and we're basically asking them to engage, right? Because that is what T1's comp needs to do, is they need to encroach onto RNG, as yeah, we saw that coming from a mile away. T1 owner just one-shots Ming, as Ming is looking for an angle there. T1 Faker in a little bit of a kerfuffle here. Faker going to be taken down. Wei takes Faker for himself, but Faker jokes on you, actually doesn't build damage, so Wei actually not very useful on that Faker. But Wei will be able to do the solo bolo, but he will not be able to 1v5 versus T1, and that is just a clean game here by T1, with Keria and Gumayushi still alive. Obviously Zeus being the main threat. Very, very good job. And honestly, T1 didn't even try, to be honest. That was a very, very solid game, I will be honest. They just kind of encroached onto RNG, and they just they got closer and closer, and suddenly RNG just started snapping, and they screamed, and they were like, get the hell off. And then T1 just looked around in the room and they said, see, I told you all he was crazy, and they won the case.
Maybe we see things like the Silas starting to creep up.
So now very different.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them trying
very different situation here. We are banning the Aatrox now, and we're banning the Lissandra. Now there is no Graves available here for Owner. Owner did an absolutely amazing job here on the Graves, and we definitely want to ban the Graves, and we definitely want to ban the Caitlyn here as well. Yuumi ban coming out, very, very important, as Maokai has dropped in favor in these worlds. Actually very interesting, as the Sejuani pickup here by RNG is going to be the key. No Viego ban, so we can definitely pick up a Viego here as well. And definitely a potential with maybe a Viego and let's say a Silas in the mid lane or something, right? Give over the Akali to T1, but now T1 is able to secure a champion for themselves, and it is going to be the Viego. No Viego Sejuani available for you guys, as Owner will claim that one for himself. And now the question is, which jungler is able to bully this Viego out and still synergize very well with the Sejuani? It's going to be a little bit more difficult. As the Akali comes out, we will see the Silas as an answer to that for sure, as it is not banned here. So I'm expecting a Silas here pretty soon, or a bot lane pick is also definitely possible here. Yeah, you see it in the, you hear it in the cast as well, right? I think that was, I don't know who that was. I think Kadriel or something. Oh, as we get the Fiora and the Silas. Yeah, that makes for an absolutely amazing combo. Actually, Fiora without the Aatrox, how many matchups are there that she is going to beat? There are still a good amount of matchups, but I think this is a... Oh, what? No, there's no way, right? This is not a Janna. Yeah, no. As we have the Jace coming out for Zeus. This could be an absolute trap for Zeus. So I think if Zeus was selfish and he didn't want to ruin his legacy, I don't think he'd want to do that, as yes, Jace is very good against Fiora and so on, but I'm expecting a lot of pressure on him here by the Sejuani, and probably by the Silas as well, if it is at all possible, as obviously Fiora and Sejuani are just ridiculously strong. Just a lot of combo potential, as we see the Aphelios being banned out here. Obviously I wouldn't... Yeah, I think Aphelios would still be strong here, as the Lucian for Lucian Nami is being banned out. I don't know about that one, to be perfectly honest, although Lucian is pretty good against the low range champions like Silas or something, right? Definitely does do a decent amount of damage, as Tristana is being banned. That's actually a very, very interesting one. I'm a little bit surprised by the Tristana ban, to be perfectly honest, but sure. Now there is really not just... There's not a lot of options, right? We have the Kai'Sa, we have the... Who else do we have? We have Kai'Sa, we have Sivir, we have Ezreal, who's not going to get picked. We have the... I guess we have Xayah, we have Kalista. Kalista is very possible here. So right now T1 are picking a very scrappy team comp. Oh, as Draven is actually pretty scary here. I don't know if you want to play Draven versus the Sejuani Silas though. I'm not 100% sure. As Renate Glask works very well. I think we're setting up for a Kalista here probably, as Gala hovering the... Jinx? Nah, there's no way that they're picking Jinx, right? Oh, Varus actually. Oh, Varus is an interesting one. Okay. So what is it now? Oh, it is the Kai'Sa. No, the Varus. No, the Kai'Sa. It is the Kai'Sa. Ooh, spicy. That is probably... Wait, that is probably Xayah. That is a Zaya here. Huh? Yeah, this is a Zaya or a Kalista, to be honest. Kind of depends on who the support is going to be. Let's see, Nautilus, of course. Yeah, then it's a Zaya. Then it's 100% a Zaya. No. Kalista doesn't make a lot of sense here. Yeah, I think Sivir does make a lot of sense, but I think it is... I think it is actually a Zaya here that makes most sense. Very interesting team comp, actually. Yeah, this is very interesting. What meta was that? 28? Not 100% sure. But yeah, so Viego actually a really nice steal here away from RNG, but does he fit into this combo? I mean, yeah, I guess Zeus able to poke people low and then Owner being able to get easy and fast pickups onto them. I think that makes a lot of sense. And Gumayushi will probably be able to deal a lot of damage because he is very good against Kai'Sa. He's pretty good against basically all their team comp, as he does want to stand his ground. Akali, not really very good in this team, but Akali is very, let's say, variable, as she just does damage, right? And she can do that defensively, aggressively. She is pretty good as a defensive champion, although you don't see it a lot, but she's pretty good as a defensive champion, as her E, her main damage spell, does allow her quite a bit of safety on hitting it if the enemy moves into you. So definitely not too bad. As we see, Sejuani will not be able to punish Owner here quite a bit. So I'm expecting a level 3 clear here by Wei, trying to get a early gank off onto Jace. Sejuani has a pretty decent clear. And I'm expecting Owner to do the same, not necessarily because it makes sense on him, but because it makes sense in the context of the game, because you want to protect Jace at any cost here from Breathe, who is going to be, or Breathe Sejuani, let's say that, right, who are going to be very scary, as Fiora Jace matchup, in my experience, is absolutely on knife's edge. Alright, so let's see. Let's see what Sejuani does here. Sejuani going for the chickens. So we are not going to do our blue buff. We are going to do chickens and then Gromp. And then probably try to get a gank set up, depending on how deep Zeus pushes. Sejuani is definitely in a decent position here to set up for a gank. Breathe still not level 2 at this point. Zeus just dinked level 2. And Sejuani working on that Gromp. Alright, currently Viego has also managed to take down the red buff right now. So he will hit level up and he's going to move into the river. And if Viego... Oh, Sejuani is a little bit before Viego. We might be able to take down Zeus before... Oh no, what are you doing? Owner is absolutely getting destroyed here by the Sejuani. Beautiful pickup by Wei. That is a dead Zeus, and that was T1 Owner's mistake entirely. Doing a quick level 3 clear, but then jumping into the blue buff and not trying to cover for his laner. Absolutely beautiful though by Wei. Maybe he picked him off on the timing. Maybe Owner wasn't expecting Sejuani to be faster than him, as Wei is also winning that trade, and Owner, he does have to flash here. 100% no flash available for Wei, clearly. So Owner actually doesn't have to flash. Beautiful. As he will pick up the Scuttle Crab, and he is trying to mess with Wei once again. Yeah, what exactly are we doing, Owner? What is the... he wanted to protect the counter gank, I guess, right? Yeah. the regank. That is such an unfortunate situation here. Actually, a really good call out by the observers to go for this, but this is T1 owner's mistake. Really, really tragic situation where owner just you saw him dip into the blue buff for a second even, so he absolutely just was clueless there. Like, what are you thinking? And this tips the matchup quite a bit. I don't know if you guys have, you know, experienced these matchups, but there are these matchups, and especially in top lane, that are super volatile, and one kill can snowball the matchup out of control very, very easily. And one of these matchups, I mean, a lot of Fiora matchups are that way, to be perfectly honest. But one of these matchups, definitely Fiora versus Jace. Another one of these matchups is Jax. And Fiora is Tryndamere, Jax is Tryndamere, Fiora. All of these champions, just no inhibitions once they get ahead of the other one. Riven Jax also a matchup like that. Although Riven Jax provides Jax with much more safety. But oh, Faker actually in a very, very troublesome situation. And no flash by Xiaohu. Xiaohu led with ease, so that makes it still 3 seconds remaining onto the E again. Yeah, that is probably not a kill actually picked up. Very good call by Xiaohu not to flash there. I would have absolutely flashed and probably looked like a donkey. Main reason why I'm not in these games, because I do look like a donkey whenever I play, and especially put my hands onto anything that is not Victor. Obviously Victor not the most mechanically challenging champion out there. Not an easy one by any means, but definitely not what Akali or Sylas have to deal with when it comes to complexity. Sylas looks much easier than he is, with his Q positioning actually being super, super important. As Breathe, I think with a pretty good riposte, is going to slow down the attack speed for Zeus here. But T1 owner is looking. Alright, Breathe does have his W back up probably in 1 or 2 seconds. As, oh, the Q goes wide out of Zeus, and that is a really tragic one. As Breathe just walks it off, and now his Sidrani is back there. Look at that, the cavalry is back, but Fiora doesn't have the ability to... Actually pretty bad W out of Breathe, but it doesn't matter, and that is a double kill going down here for RNG. Absolutely huge, the top combo paying off dividends. Unfortunate 2 kills going over to Sidrani so far, but obviously just no one. It was 1 kill, and 1 kill went over to the Fiora, which is still pretty big. As at this point we have hit the very critical point of Fiora having her Steel Whip and being able to, yeah, together with the Steel Caps, being able to withstand the Jace. Most likely the Jace poke. And you also see Zeus given up on being a lane dominant champion, and he is already looking at scaling here by going for the tier, right? That is going to reduce his damage by quite a bit. Now that is also going to put him into a very difficult situation, and this is the main problem in my opinion with something like the Jace, is that Jace is very vulnerable once he falls behind, very vulnerable to getting dove, as once he loses his early game edge, he is in a little bit of trouble there. Has a little bit of a stressful gasping for air there, actually. Actually a little unfortunate, but yeah, I think he saw that coming. That is just what happens sometimes. It's totally fine. We can do this. Alright, so definitely a game where RNG is in the driver's seat now, so looks like we are going to have ourselves a 5v5 after all, or a best of 5 after all. A lot of people saying, yeah, T1 is going to do better. I think someone predicted a 3-0 as well, some streamer or someone.
As close to his tower as possible to make sure the
still potentially possible, but this T1 draft is much weaker than what we have on RNG's side here. Generally very scary comp. I think the Xayah, I think the bot lane comp is the strongest comp here as the counter, and I think that given how much auto attacks have been drafted here, that potentially Carrier's ultimates could be amazing. So I think that is definitely something that we want to watch out for. Obviously, Gumayushi should have a pretty easy game. Not an easy game, but a game where he can have a lot of impact. Let's put it that way. The question is, how much is he able to use that? Because obviously Gumayushi hasn't had the best of showings so far. Now obviously it feels like in Worlds he has kind of found his old footing again. But you know, MSI and basically the summer wasn't the best performance out of Gumayushi. I think I also distinctly remember some interview where he said that he had lost confidence because of something, probably because of MSI or something. I'm not 100% sure. But obviously RNG did face off against T1 in MSI as well. So that happened. And T1 owner looking to cover for Zeus here. Mainly as Breathe is going to move in. W not going to be riposted, but the Q is going to be riposted, and RNG Breathe is going to move out of this unscathed. Alright, a Sejuani with a lot of gold is actually a very scary tank. So definitely don't underestimate that, as Guma actually quite a bit of gold ahead, considering that he is now losing a wave in the turret. Yeah, which, oh my god, that puts Gumayushi into a very, very comfortable position here. 104 CS versus 89 here for the Kai'Sa. So many champions, so many names. As Xiaohu finds an okay engage onto Faker, but Faker will be able to get out of there. Faker definitely on the back foot now, as the matchup versus Silas not looking too good for Akali from the super early game on. Alright, we're jumping onto Zeus again. Zeus going down once again. Owner not able to trade anything here. Owner needs to... What? Owner, what are you doing? No, you need to get out of there. Hiya! Oh my god, dude. If you see Sejuani and a melee champion somewhere, and especially a champion like Fiora that can auto-Q auto in very, very quick time... Oh my god, that was scary, dude. I honestly felt for a second that Owner might go down there. But it ended up not happening. A little bit defensive as well by Way and Breathe there. I think had they looked for it a little bit more, they probably were, considering that he would have a good reason. We're a little bit scared of maybe Faker coming or someone. Xiaohu does hit with that, but the ultimate will not connect with Faker. Faker having to blow his flash. Although that probably wouldn't have killed. Maybe he would have had his W though. And yeah, this is Zeus just having a very, very bad time. However, never count out a Jace just because he has a lot of deaths, because Jace still will deal quite a bit of damage and still will do quite a bit if he goes this tier build and he manages to get back a good amount of items, manages to get back his power spikes, then he will still be able to deal good amount of poke damage. Absolutely still will have some value, but Fiora being ahead is a very, very scary situation, because that means that she can take over the side lane, and a lot of the time that means absolute death, as Xiaohu looking for Faker here, not going to be able to pick up anything as Way. Bullying Faker out, but Faker, I think he has good potentially, as the ultimate comes out, the E connects, and that is Xiaohu going down, traded with Faker, and T1 owner looking for Way here now, as the Viego is going to ult over the wall. He is going to stun, but there is no kill picked up onto Way, and now Breathe is closing in, and this is owner going down as well. Nautilus ultimate showing up. Beautiful W by Fiora, and Carrier will not be able to bail Owner out of that situation just a little bit too much, and just a slight overstep there by Owner, looking for a little bit too much, feeling himself a little bit too much. You are matter of fact not way, you're not going to get a triple kill of one pickup. Alright, so we're going to grab the wave down here, and Gumayushi still just doing such a solid, absolutely ridiculously solid job here. On to Gala, so definitely performing the best out of all the T1 members right now. I would say Gumayushi and Carrier are. Mostly Gumayushi though, because I mean Carrier might have been instrumental to them winning lane, but I haven't seen him do a whole lot. Where, you know, Gumayushi, you can see the CS numbers, you know that Guma is doing quite a bit here. T1 actually not going to pick up the dragon. They are respecting the pickup. Nope, they are going to pick up the dragon. Xayah is pretty good at securing dragons like that, as T1 is going to back off of that. You do not want to mess with Wei and Zhao, who right now, Gala kind of in a vulnerable position, but obviously they could collapse. And RNG just says, thank you for the leash, as they take down the Ocean Dragon. And that means we have a Cloud Soul here. Actually super tragic. In the one game where RNG is ahead and is strong, we get a Cloud Soul. Very bad for RNG. Definitely not what their team comp wants. And as much as Fiora does like it, she is almost everything in the team comp that does like it, to be perfectly honest. As also on Wei, by the way, I forgot to point that out, but Wei is also rocking the phase rush as a rune, so very interesting decision. It allows him to get away from Owner, I think, after getting his combos off. I think that is the main thing. And get away from Owner, get away from Guma. But we will see. Absolutely, we'll see.
Very safe, knowing that Shehu had that TP advantage. He's not actually able to contest that top wave, so they will just move in over towards the Rift Herald.
15 minutes, and that is a 2k gold lead for RNG. I mean, they are looking ahead, but don't count T1 out yet. There's definitely a item difference here in the top lane between Fiora and Jace, but as I said before, right, Jace always has that poke form, so as long as his team doesn't fall behind, Jace always can find a spot, as long as he does a little bit of damage. But his Q hitting for awfully little here. I mean, sure, Fiora has steel caps, but yeah, he definitely has to hit. I mean, yeah, who does he have to hit? He has to hit the Kai'Sa, basically, right? That's like all he can do for damage. Now, obviously, once he gets his tier fully stacked to a Muramana, he will do much better, and then probably is a Rilda Scrudge right after that. Very predictable skill path here by, or build path here by Zeus. As we have 190 CS on Gumayushi, and that is exactly what we want, right? He is so strong and so ahead already. Also being funneled quite a bit of gold, clearly, right? But Gumayushi is just farming up a storm, and that storm is going to be unleashed. Actually, very interesting. He picks up the Last Whisper here, which I think, so the way I understand this is that he uses this, and I've theorized about this quite a bit actually when I started playing AD carry. He picks up the Last Whisper because it gives him penetration for his E, which is quite important, right, as his E doesn't critical strike, but he also sets himself up for the pickup of a Infinity Edge. Actually, beautiful flash there by Zeus. He could have also backstepped that, however, then the Sejuani flash comes in while he's slowed, and you know, there's potential to kill him anyway, so I think the flash puts him onto the safe side. However, obviously he is now diveable again. Owner going to have to play around him a little bit.
And I think again, you're
Owner
gonna have to
just
see this Riptide
finished
being
up
used
his
for Dragon
magic
Ball.
boots. He
It's a very
now
difficult
finally
thing,
has
right?
boots
Bunker
and the
both
Divine
those
Sundra
objectives,
together.
try and pick up one for yourself.
Compare that
At the
to
moment, people are
Sejuani's
doing a great
build.
job
Definitely a very
defending
unfortunate
this.
situation as Zeus trying to hold his own there, but I think this is just a solo kill from Breathe onto Zeus. Yeah, nothing Zeus can do. And actually pretty decent idea here, but yeah, Breathe is just going to pick up Zeus. Nothing he can do. 0 and 4, 303, and this is exactly what cannot be allowed to happen. What Zeus cannot allow to happen is actually him fighting the Fiora, not just defending the tower and trying to farm up. He probably saw an angle here to kill the Fiora, but nothing you can do against this. Fiora absolutely huge with that Conqueror as well. And Zeus is going to be taken down for the 4th kill. Alright, we down here, dude, Faker and Xiaohu are just going at it. Like the entire time they're just going at it, dashing around, and Faker is going to barely get out once again. Faker barely alive, and Xiaohu does a very, very solid job at pressuring Faker out here. Actually, Faker does pick up the minion still, so not even the pressure does anything for Xiaohu, unless the fact that... Yeah, unless obviously you consider the fact that he is going to have a little bit of pressure here and a little bit of first move. Actually, Faker cancelling the recall again to push out a wave. Very interesting idea here. Fiora definitely looking for Faker, as the Herald will be used to take down the tier 1 turret, and Wei picks up another dragon for his team. Oh, well, Wei and Breathe, I guess. The fact that it is a Cloud Dragon is very, very good for T1. As Owner almost dead again. As... Oh, Gala! Ah, we're getting greedy, Gala. No ultimate available for Gala here. Faker's teleport was forced out. Faker also used his Shroud. And he shall not really have any impact, as Wei looking for Gumayushi, as Gumayushi with a pretty disciplined Gale Force out of there. Still had his flash available, but did not flash at all. Obviously not that much pressure on him as well, as he still has flash available now, and his ultimate would have been available as well. So yeah, very, very disciplined of him, going to use his ultimate to the last second where it's needed. Optimally, you can dodge multiple abilities with his ultimate, which is obviously quite important. Dominic's regards coming out for him, as he will now be working towards the Infinity Edge here, stacking up more damage than attack speed, making his E's very, very impactful once he gets there. Obviously, also Armor Pen already has been taken, so he can go for some protection after this as well. Can go for GA after acquiring the Infinity Edge here. Zeus taken out once again. 180 to 220 CS here for the Fiora. No, actually 210. Wei, what exactly is the plan here? Wei wanting a little bit too much apparently.
RNG just playing with so much confidence right now. They own every side of the map, and Wei can make plays wherever he chooses.
This is going to be very difficult for T1. I think this all rests on Gumayushi, who is just so far ahead in farm. Like that is the scariest thing about Guma right now, is if he can get Infinity Edge, he is absolutely going to be huge. Owner is in a very bad position, probably the darkest of places of all. He will have to be very, very careful in these team fights, because if he gets into melee range of Breathe and Sejuani, he is going to go down whether or not he wants it or not. Only a really good ultimate buffer is going to help him there, as you can obviously see the projectile from Sejuani's, what is called True Ice, I think. see that fly, but you know, he has to ult out immediately if she connects with that, because otherwise Fiora potentially just takes him down. Fiora W, quite the big threat as well for him, just by trying to gap close or anything. So definitely a scary situation, and we are not even talking about Zhao, who just has so much available to him, right? With the potential, I think the greatest Sylas ult here available, definitely Carrier's ultimate, as he's going to go down here 100%. Gumayusi picks up a kill onto Zhao, who, yeah, one auto attack at Zhao, who is executed, but RNG in favor. Trade the Baron. STP is going to be used here by Zeus. Not going to do a lot of damage. Actually, RNG back off. I would have never expected that. And I also never knew that if you throw your W around the red buff, you actually create a heart shape with Viego's W. Very beautiful, cute. Does T1 actually get a rotation onto the tower? That's actually pretty good, but they do lose a little bit of minions in the top lane. Gumayusi 282 farm. Now he also picked up a kill onto Zhao, who is immediately the less valuable member of all, but still is a quite valuable member nonetheless. Alright, we will see what exactly is happening in this game. This is a very interesting game. I mean, RNG definitely in a much better position here than T1. But I mean, I'm still waiting, because Carrier and Gumayusi are so good against this team comp, where RNG's comp is so good against Akali and the Viego, and I mean, not really the Jace, but the Viego especially. As we are jumping onto Faker. Faker is going to flash out, make the executive call here. We are moving into the Baron, going to be pushed into that a little bit, as Faker is opening up, and yeah, this is RNG just taking dominance over the Dragon. Not going to be possible for T1 to trade the Baron, as RNG did check whether or not the Baron was in peril. It is not being done, as a ward will be placed, and so the blue team picks up the soul of the game, which is a Cloud Soul. Any other soul would have been good. I think that I think this game would not be nearly as close if this was an Infernal or a Mountain Soul. Especially Mountain Soul hits Xayah pretty hard. The thing that I see is that Gumayusi will not have a lot of sustain, and so that is what I'm scared about the most, right? As Gumayusi definitely is the important factor here, but we will see what exactly ends up happening, as Gala has been able to pick up quite a bit of CS himself now, and is definitely doing very well now as well, together with Gumayusi. Gumayusi now has his Infinity Edge available, so now this is the point where actually T1 have a chance, as the ultimate goes wide. Beautiful buffer by Zeus actually takes out Zhao, and Zhao is going to be in a problematic situation, but RNG is available there. Zhao going to flash out, Owner has to flash out as well. Ming has used his ultimate, Wei has used his ultimate, and there is not a lot of ultimates available here for RNG. T1 still have Fakers, they still have Carriers, and so that is a pretty good bump in the ultimate economy, and general the economy here for T1. Potentially netting them a pretty winnable fight here on the Baron, as Baron is going to be reset again. Wei going to pick up the Scuttle Crab. on the Baron. Not really too much going on with that, to be honest, as he will clear out the wards. Owner resets. Owner cancels his reset. Obviously, he doesn't have the he doesn't have the Blade of the Rune King yet, so definitely not going to be in a position to pick that up. So he is definitely very weak. He's given up a lot of his money to Gumayusi, so you can only hope that Gumayusi is able to really do wonders here. And then Owner, obviously, once he picks up someone like the Kai'Sa or the Fiora, I mean, he kind of gets his money anyway, right? As he is able to use their items. Wei, look in here at the Faker, at the carrier, but Owner is ready as well for the fight. And yeah, so this is okay. So here Fiora is actually not pushing out, which I find questionable, right? And T1 are just setting up, they're just protecting Baron and making sure that nothing is happening. But here, RNG definitely looking a little bit, looking, but not able to pick up anything so far. RNG definitely want to find the fight here, as they haven't managed to do so far. They're definitely not doing as solid of a job, and this is Zhao who just being caught out here. Akali ultimate is, yeah, okay, it can get him out here. He doesn't manage to get the second Akali ultimate, as the counter trade onto Zeus once a freaking Gan. Zeus just goes down to Wei again. Does this guy hate me? 0-6-1. I think he does, as RNG answer the takedown onto Xiaohu with an inhibitor, and this most likely nails the fate of T1. Now, Gumayusi is still strong, but are you going to be able to withstand the Fiora and everyone else? Fiora actually going for Hex Drinker here. Now that's absolutely horrible, going for Hex Drinker here. Now that's absolutely terrible.
Get some vision on RNG before they walk in, but we're gonna check the replay here quickly.
Not a good one at all. Sorry. Not a good one at all. Like, Gumayusi is the #1 threat here, and I think stacking armor onto the Gumayusi damage is much better than anything else here.
Good flash to get the lockdown. Zeus just kind of laughing this one off. See if his confidence is hurt going into.
Yeah, Zeus is Zeus is just the punching bag in this game, and honestly, he is the best punching bag because he doesn't really care about being a punching bag in this game. Doesn't really matter. He'll do a little bit of damage, right? Okay, so this is the soul actually, and T1 going for a trade here. I think T1 will definitely win that one. RNG going to come in late there, but they're going to be split up, so they have to be very careful here with going into this a little bit too aggressively, as T1 can definitely look for the fight here. Gumayusi in a scary situation, but absolutely great ultimate by Carrier. T1 is definitely in a lot of trouble here. Gumayusi super aggressive positioning, but he is pushing out RNG, and that is a W for T1, and they might actually come back into this game with Gumayusi looking absolutely invincible. And this is exactly what I was talking about, by the fact that T1, they just run away and they invite RNG in, and they just still manage to get it. I think Fiora could have exploited the split map a little bit more than she did, so Breathe. But this is an absolutely stellar performance here by Gumayusi, who most definitely is a very important part of this whole situation. I don't know.
Pushing towards tier 2 seems very difficult in the current game state. RNG can collapse so
I don't know who's ahead.
Amount of move speed out of combat from the Cloud Dragons.
I mean, technically RNG is very far ahead, but are they actually? Because Carrier, I mean, T1 definitely has a good... I would actually say that RNG is slightly ahead, but it's kind of even. I know it sounds really odd given the wave state and the general state of the game, but Sylas very bad into this fed Xayah. Yeah, I think they just have to lock down Xayah and try to do that with a carrier standing right next to him, giving him the revive, giving him the bailout and the ultimate, which Berserk is like the craziest mechanic versus something like the Kai'Sa and the Fiora and the, like, just everyone there on that enemy team is pretty scary with it. Nautilus especially, not the Sejuanis, absolutely not, but Nautilus also really good with it, right? As yeah, the Zeo's still finding some poke onto Gala, so that is still pretty good. As T1 is rotating over to the Dragon, but obviously there is nothing to take here. 3 minutes until Elder Dragon comes, as Fiora and Sejuani are in the top side here. Okay, this could be a very favorable trade for T1 if they indeed manage to force a fight here, which they will probably not be able to do though. So it is a trade for outer turrets as Sejuani and Xiaohu jumping onto Faker here. Gala is also available for the ultimate, so no way that Faker will be able to get out of here. RNG finding another pick onto T1, and now their base is in peril. Zeus teleport? Question mark? What the hell? Alright, so Zeus's idea was to take down that turret as well, get some gold, but unfortunately not going to be available. Another inhibitor is going down, as another inhibitor, given the wave clear that is available here, this inhibitor is also going to funnel quite a bit of gold into T1, so it's not that bad.
Baron buff's about to fall off. RNG want to take your top tier 2. Let's take their bot tier 2. But Faker gets
I'm personally a big fan of the of Gumayusi's build though. Building the rapid fire cannon this late seems kind of odd, but it does give him a lot of penetration and a lot of power to keep them in the game. I'm expecting a Bloodthirster here out of him for the last item, because that is the thing that I'm still kind of scared of, is he just doesn't have any sustain, right? He relies on laying out a floor of feathers, using that ultimate, maybe that bailout maximum, and just surviving the teamfights long enough to take down RNG. T1 doing a super solid job though at not dropping a lot of people, right? Which I think is definitely commendable, right? And for being 10-3 when it comes to the kills, right? For being 10-3, they are doing a pretty solid job. 7 turrets, which means that is about, what, 2,000 gold still on the map available for them to take back instantly. That means that for real gold, right, real gold that is not going to be gained back, we're looking at, let's say, 4k gold. Definitely doesn't sound as bad as saying 6k gold here as a difference. And I mean, yeah, I think T1 is still one mistake away from losing the game, and they are 3 mistakes away from winning it. So still a very RNG favorite situation, but then I favor T1 in the mistake making. Breeze will secure that red buff for himself. Nothing for Gumayushi as Zeus will get the hell out of there. Solid mechanics played on the top laner. One of these super young players that managed to get a MVP already, or be at least in the and be in the conversation for being one of the greatest top laners. So pretty ridiculous feat here. T1 just stepping in there just like they own this pit. And RNG pretty scared as we are looking for Gumayushi. Beautiful ultimate by Gumayushi, but Gumayushi is going to be hit here by the Nautilus. And T1 just stand in front of Guma, and Guma just not... No one is getting on top of Guma. Neither Gala nor anyone else is able to deal with them as Faker just deals with all of them. He had the attention of 3 people, still gets out of this with half of his HP, and no matter how hard Breeze is working here, that is a definite comeback here for T1. That is absolutely huge. But still, 2 to 3 mistakes away. 1 mistake has been made. The question is RNG going to make even more mistakes? It looks really, really dire though. This team fight looked really bad. I think that what Xiaohu needs to do is he needs to manage to get Keриa's ultimate, and he needs to manage to wait for Xayah, and then the second she goes, uses her ultimate, start that Keria ultimate that is going to hit Gumayushi. And now look at this match, right? Look at how Wei, Gala, Breeze are all not able to connect with Gumayushi at all. Like, look at this. No one... Gumayushi is just standing there and auto-attacking. That is all that is happening. Xiaohu is the person that gets closest. With Zeus even being able to live-ish here. And then Fiora takes down a double, but Gumayushi definitely not under a lot of pressure in that fight. Like that is what I want to say, right? Gumayushi is a great AD carry, right? And it was solidly played, but RNG wasn't able to pressure him, and if that is actually what is going on, then we were wrong all along. Then T1 was ahead the second that Gumayushi got ahead. Absolutely ludicrous damage out of Zeus. What? This is ridiculous damage out of Zeus. Obviously, Kai'Sa not able to participate in that fight at all as well. But yeah, that is huge damage by Zeus actually. Absolutely amazing, as Zeus almost kills Keria just with auto attacks. Faker definitely looking for Breathe here, yeah. He is not going to connect, as Faker is going to be slowed down and gotten out of his game plan. Ming looking for an angle onto Gumayushi, but Gumayushi will be moving away here with the T1 Death Ball as they sniff out the poor rider behind them. They are not going to take her down yet. And the dragon is about to run out. Elder is about to run out. We're at 20 minutes for Baron to run out. I honestly don't see it. I don't see how RNG manages to get onto Gumayushi. Maybe they'll show me. But this is crazy. This was such an RNG favorite game. Oh my god, Xiaohu, no way you just did that. I can relate to Xiaohu so much. I've lost games like this before, where it's so on the edge and then you just kind of go down and it's like, yeah, whatever, man. Or stop feeling yourself, okay? you're the passenger here in Gumayushi's car, okay? And honestly, Zeus's as well, actually. It's very impressive that with only 4 items, I say only, right? But only 4 items in this point, he has done as much damage as Gumayushi, who is full build since minute 1. Alright, Berserk going to hit the entire team, and yeah, you just see how ridiculously strong Berserk is. As there is still... No, there's no fighting chance anymore. I mean, it almost doesn't feel like there was a fighting chance ever. Because no matter how strong Fiora was... Actually, Fiora gets the kill onto Gumayushi. Gumayushi going to be able to pick her up, though, and Gumayushi is going to live. as Xiaohu has to be very, very careful here. He picks up... What? Why would he pick up Zaya ultimate? Oh, hell yeah, dude. Gumayushi. Gumayushi knows not only did he win a game, he was the carry. And you know what that means? Plus 2,000 social credit from the League of Legends community. He is being called, he's going to be called Guma God once again. As we move on to game 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back. I finally got myself some water as my throat is absolutely dying over here. Okay, so we see an Aatrox picked up here by RNG with Wei on the Viegos. They are committing now again, once again to this brawly aggressive type team comp. And we have a beautiful flex pick here actually for Faker or Zeus. Yeah, I think Yone is pretty good against Aatrox, but Yone is also ridiculously strong here with the Sejuani. And yeah, I mean, this is where I see the problem, is they've already given a really strong comp, and I don't know how they want to counter it. I don't see it. Silas going to be picked up again. Don't tell me it's okay, it's Akali again. You know, I was hoping for a little bit of a more interesting mid lane matchup than Akali and Silas, as they look interesting because they flash around, jump around, all of that, but they never die. It's bad, dude. All right. Well, second ban phase, we are getting rid of the Kai'Sa. Want to make sure that we don't have to pick a... Actually, why? I mean, I guess Kai'Sa is pretty good with Vi, so yeah, I understand that a little bit. As Lucian ban, I don't know about. The Renata ban is a pretty good one, as Renata is ridiculously strong together with the Yone. With the Kali coming out, we also know that this is going to be a Zeus Yone. Actually looking forward to that. And yeah, we've picked the corresponding champion so far. Everyone has picked their own champion actually. As well, Guma going to throw that out with a Tahm Kench. I mean, I see the vision. I think T1 are very happy just blinding this Tahm Kench now to RNG play a Brown lane or something along those lines. Is Tahm Kench that good? They go Ezreal Karma to get the push. They have a couple of options here. I think I'm not sure. The Aphelios, though, and then it does become a big question. The Aphelios or the Zaya? I would say a Zaya is actually a really good one here. Yeah, I think Zaya and Lulu really not bad here potentially. I mean, he played a lot in the regular split, right? And it's something that can definitely help out with this Aphelios. That's an Aphelios now. No, Ming, no. We can't go for we can't go for that type of champion against Owner and Zeus. Soraka? Nah, there's no way. Nah, I mean, Soraka is pretty good against Tahm Kench and against pretty much every one of their champions. Yeah, they do pick it up. Actually going to see very different playstyle here from Ming required. Gumayushi hovering the Varus. I know that Gumayushi has played a lot of Varus. I did recently do a review. Yeah, that is him locking it in. I did recently... I did a review on his Varus actually recently. Should be available on the channel. And he did absolutely amazing now. Granted, he is playing in NA, but still, absolute amazing performance. And we've seen out of him what we have seen in last game as well. What, in my opinion, won T1's game, basically, was him just charging up on farm. Absolutely solid job. The Tahm Kench will get pushed in by the Soraka lane, and I think bots will mostly be in isolation unless either lane is overpushed. God, I need water. Keep our eyes on top side. My poor throat. That's alright. Well, the champions are locked in, and we are going to jump onto the Summoner's Rift. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. All right, so everyone's covering, nothing crazy is happening. We see 3 Conquerors here, and we see the lethal tempo onto the Yone. Nothing crazy when it comes to the runes. The Prime Gaming advertisement blocking the more interesting information out. I'm just gonna wait. Gala's running Cleanse here, which obviously he is going to have to use, and still Guma and Kerry are still going to have lethal on him, because if he doesn't cleanse optimally, Tam Kench will still be able to find the E onto him. Alright, Faker bulldozing forward as he needs to use the short little window, timing window that Akali has against the Silas here. With, we'll see what exactly Wei elects to do. Obviously, Wei Xiaohu are pretty decent at skirmishing. Yeah, but nothing is going to beat the Yone and the Aatrox. Yone definitely is going to need some starting help in the top lane though, as Yone's level 1 is actually surprisingly good. But once we get to the levels 4 and 5, Yone can be in a little bit of trouble unless he finds really good engages. Obviously, Yone a pretty complex champion, and I don't know that much about it, but I've seen a couple of Yone games in the top lane, and I've seen a Yone Aatrox game actually pretty recently. And yeah, apparently also Zeus does play that quite a bit. Alright, Faker. If the Vi Q connects, Faker is dead, but yeah, it doesn't, as Faker has to flash here, and Wei is going to jump onto Faker as the... Faker is going to get out of here. Xiaohu, just recall. Recall, Xiaohu. Recall, you won't get him. Oh, is this going to be an execute? Yes. Yes, this is an execute. Yes, it is an execute. Huge. Faker, oh my lord, Faker. He is outbousing the boss with a good death. Good job here. Okay, so well, we'll see. I mean, Akali will get weaker and weaker as this lane goes, so that is very interesting. As okay, we get an immediate replay here, right? Faker.
Every single time Wei and Xiaohu try to predict it, they miss, and Xiaohu just barely getting back to his turret.
I think Faker could have flashed together with
but it's not going to be the case. Faker manages to escape away with that one just a bit.
But be that how it will, this definitely did work out for the Akali. No blue smite available for Wei. Clearly not, right? Because we are 4 minutes.
Meanwhile, on the bottom side, you saw Carry holding on to the push for a little bit in the early levels, but as there are a few more levels in the belt,
what is Guma doing?
Guma not there to collect some of that CS.
Oh no, Guma is Guma's having not the game of his life. That's owner actually a little bit of a lane gank. Actually very smart. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. But they're not going to pick up Breathe. But Breathe had to flash. That was amazingly orchestrated here by T1 and Honor. That was so well done. I freaking love that. That's okay. Kali going to move in here. Q connects. No auto attack. Yeah, just hits another Q. Watching this lane is just omega boring because I mean,
it is going to be a little bit of a difficult situation when Breathe isn't going to be able to follow up as easily as you'd like.
What the hell is going on? Like, it's just Akali and Silas is just like them beating on each other. And then getting ready to roam, and that's where interesting stuff happens in the team fights at the roams. That is actually where the interesting stuff happens. Which is pretty questionable. As right, Gala and Ming getting pushed in a little bit here, but Soraka is definitely doing a solid job. We're jumping back to the mid lane because there's so much fighting, but all that fighting means literally nothing, as Wei looking for the same thing that happened. But the difference here is that Zeus is incentivized, right? In comparison to Breathe before, Zeus is incentivized to not take a trade as he is one level below. Where in the other one, that was the other way around. So generally a smarter bait just by T1. And I think you see that also in the last game, where you saw how well T1 bait out a fight, and then you saw how poorly RNG baited out the fight. Aatrox's ultimate completely irrelevant. Of course not. Alright, just takes down Owner. Xiaohu going to be taken down by Gumayushi. Beautiful roam here by the bot lane, who is going to lose a little bit of CS. Beautiful sidestep by Keria, but Keria will take a lot of damage, but Gumayushi is walking in confidently. They take down one. Is Gumayushi going to be able to take down Breathe as well? No, he is not going to be able, and that is a super solid job by Gumayushi. All of the sudden, 69 farm for the Aphelios, by the way. That is very nice, as Breathe is in a little bit of peril here. Yeah, Zeus waiting over the wall. Zeus E still available. Ultimate will connect with Breathe, and there's no escape for Breathe, as yeah, Zeus still has his... Oh my god, Zeus just made such a big mistake. And it wasn't... Oh my god, that was so lucky by Zeus. He would have looked so bad. Alright, well, he will pick up a kill onto the Aatrox as well. And that is a beautiful 1-2 actually out of T1, right? Just way overestimating himself. And then just with this fight, it just started, right? And then way overestimated himself because they took down Owner, but Owner was available again. And then Aatrox just gets caught. Breathe just gets caught in the rotation out there. What an unfortunate turn of events, but T1 is just beautifully using this game, and it feels so good the way they all work together. Actually, beautiful cinematic moment there, as the arrow is going to send the tip right into Silas's skull, obviously. And now T1 rotate to pick up this Baron. Rotate to pick up this Herald, and definitely very favorable game for T1 now. The team comps, I would say, are also favorable for T1, as if the Guma ultimate connects with Aphelios, and even if he cleanses it, Owner ultimate plus Zeus ultimate plus Keria ultimate, he is not going to be able to get to 200 years, because what he wants is he wants people that run at him and deal damage. As what the hell is bot lane doing here? Faker is not going down, but what are we doing? Keria taking aggro. Keria is going to go down here. Faker, if he takes aggro, is going to go down as well, as he goes down to the... Was that necessary? No, that wasn't necessary. So Ming just took a kill from Gala, as Zhao will punish Gumayushi for stepping into the turret range there. And I would say that is definitely a favor for RNG, who now have evened out the game again. Pretty big overextension by T1. I don't know what exactly the plan was there, but Breathe is going to be in trouble. But beautiful play by Breathe, actually hitting a knock-up onto Owner, and Zeus getting himself into safety there. Actually beautifully done. But is he going to live now? Owner? No. No. Owner's still looking. Owner is still looking, as that is a dead one. Zeus flash going to come through, but yeah, we are going to connect with Zeus. Zeus is going to go down to Breathe as the teleport comes out of the Silas, and he is going to secure a
across the map.
Herald
T1
and
forcing
quite a
both,
bit
T1
of
forcing top,
minions
RNG
actually
responding on
for
both
the blue
sides.
team here,
Exactly.
as
That's
the
why
dragon
Fire Eyes to the top of the screen. It's still so close when it comes
wonderfully
towards the gold,
went
because there's
over
been
to
trades for
RNG as
turret
well.
plates, for kills back.
Where he must have
Across the board, this
stolen
game is still within
that,
touching distance,
as I think.
especially when Breathe is
Never
able
mind.
to turn around these
We
dives,
probably
same
just
as
did
RNG
it
did on
with
bot side.
Area has the sweeper. They're in the next brush.
All right.
Ming
Very scary situation here. Yeah, the flash onto Guma, and Guma is locked down, not able to move. Guma will be taken down by Gala here. And that is a solid kill. Obviously, quite a bit of resources used there, flash and Vi ultimate, just to kill Guma. But what can Guma do if the silence is below him and Vi ultimates him? The thing is,
And at this World's
the thing is,
Championship,
right?
we've seen T1 and RNG be the cool,
Vi
the
can only
calm,
lock down one
the
target.
collected, and now they are coming out swinging
This game,
haymakers
Guma is not the
left and right,
sole
and I
carry.
am all for it, as again we're getting heavy trades
As
for
Akali,
RNG in the top side, but we have to keep our
definitely
eyes on
going to
things
do
like
quite a bit
Riptide that's
with
gonna be up in
Owner.
3 minutes, the Dragon that's going to be up soon as well.
And
It feels
Zeus,
like whoever's able to take
well,
these fights at these
Zeus
neutrals
is playing
going
Yon,
to be able to blow up in this game.
so he can win these team fights basically himself if he gets sufficiently fed.
Seemingly out of thin air, just all in each other. Ming waiting over the wall. This is a bit precarious.
Honor looking for Ming here as the Bissell.
Carrier doesn't quite make it over the wall. Does still get the tongue lash though. That's the stun, and it's more than enough. But now they're looking to get a little bit more. Xiaohu caught out here. Stack first on that one.
Alright, Xiaohu flash. The Akali ultimate still available, which makes it a little awkward for him.
Sweeper over the wall there. Owner saw Ming, but there was no
But yeah, do you see what I mean? Like, this matchup is so freaking boring, dude. Like,
Xiaohu has lost his flash. Wei knows that Gala's going to be dove and they have no flash on him. TP ready
T1
for
going
Breed if
to
they
be
wanna
able to
commit
pick
this
up
dive. RNG have a response. The
double
Soraka ultimate is up as well.
Soraka ultimate up. Guns way worse in the
would
dive than they were last
actually
time.
have
Still strong overall. That's the
expected
ultimate.
them
The
to
Gale
be
Force
able
Arc
to
still
kill
gets
that.
hit, but there will be no follow.
They are not,
Massive
however.
damage coming in from the bars already. Meanwhile, on the top side, the 1v1
Zeus doing his monkey stuff onto Breathe.
Able to get much in the trade.
With monkey stuff, I mean,
And this is where again we're seeing T1 trying to
whenever
put the
Yon
pressure
jumps
on, trying to
onto
see if
you
they can
and
be the
just,
ones
you
to
know,
start off these dives, and
wails
at least
around
so
with his
far,
blades.
they've
It's just
been
like,
mismanaged, but T1 still starting to get
I'm
control.
running
Look at the amount of
katanas
vision
in
they
a
have on
Kimbo
this bot
style.
side. They're trying to
One to
continuously
cut, one to
play around
seal,
Gumayusi now.
and one
So
to
frustrating on the top
donate
side.
to my,
Well for Breathe, because
I don't know,
constantly
I want to
that
donate
bot.
to my
Spotted
center.
out.
Oh my god, as Vi ultimate is going to go on cooldown, yet still Gumayusi gets out of there. What a scary situation, and that would have been a very, very big no for Guma. Dragon coming up in 140, so the ultimate is going to be available again. What is Vi's item build?
Even through the Soraka ultimate, T1 gets first break on this top
Why are we
side,
going
and RNG, no
Chemtech
response.
first?
Wei not there in time, Xiaohu not having the TP. Soraka ult doesn't do enough, Breed falls.
And T1 are just doing a
Chemtech
great job
first
across,
just
right?
because of...
Every time you see Wei or Xiaohu moving somewhere on the map, Owner's
I don't know
goes
about the
outside.
Chemtech.
They don't get the kill on Gumayusi, immediately Owner gets a response on top end.
Because you're
Now seeing
slashing healing out of
3-1
champions
on
like
his
Varus
pocket pick in
and
this
Yon that
massive
don't
in
really
his
heal
side
that
lanes.
much.
And Breed
I mean,
was
Yon does
looking
heal,
like
but the
he
healing is
caused a
more
miracle
problematic
by
in
getting
lane than
this
it is
Aatrox
in the
in
team
top
fights,
side,
right?
But it's no longer the case. He's in so much trouble in
Later on, I
comparison to
absolutely
Zane.
understand it, but right
He
now...
managed to go for the 1-for-1s, but Wei has kind of abandoned him since that first kill
Interesting,
up
as we
towards the
see
top side.
a
He's just been
tank item
playing around
probably
mid,
coming
both
out
knows
of
to try
Fire.
and
Oh no, this
match
is
T1's
actually just
plays, and
this is
Owner's
just
been
her
finding
boots.
these windows, finding these
So we
angles
don't
to
know.
dive. Breed
I mean, I'm hoping
straight
for
on
a
one area,
Divine
but
Sunder
this
as
time
that
he
is
falls.
probably the best
Herald
one
spawning in 5 seconds.
available
Owner is
here.
in the
Maybe
area, and no tower behind Breed means he might just die again. The jungler of T1
Maybe
collapsing on
Eclipse.
this top side. Faker is around as well on the mid-map.
Eclipse is pretty good, but yeah, maybe Eclipse.
Breathe.
Maybe Eclipse.
Holding on for now, but on the bottom side, Zeus
But most likely
more
it's
and
going to
more
be
gold going
Divine
to the back
Sunder.
pocket of this Yone RNG though, starting
DS.
the Herald.
T1 make these plays to force RNG to one area while they're doing something else.
Alright, second Herald is going to be acquired here by RNG, as T1 is ready to contest that. Isn't necessary, totally not at all. You could give that over to RNG, no problem, but they are going to stop it as T1 Zeus is ready to roll. His Q is off cooldown. Now it is on cooldown as the ultimate of Owner is going to catch Wei is going to go down here to the Yone as Zeus flashes over, and Faker is just dealing with 3 people, and Gumayushi again not under pressure at all. He can do whatever he wants. He decides because of that to just miss his Q onto Gala, just to make it look like Gala did something in this team fight as well and look a little bit better. Gala actually in a very, very comfortable situation here on this Aphelios. Definitely very scary, but so is Gumayushi, and Gumayushi did not get touched again. We only traded Zeus for 3 kills and the Herald. So yeah, you see how Guma just was untouched the entire team fight, by the way. Like, Gumayushi's just standing here. He's autoing. He's autoing. He's autoing. He's autoing. He's autoing. Walking around. Walking around. Q's, autoing, autoing. Misses his Q, autoing. And like, that's it, autoing. You know, that's it. While Faker is like inside of 4 people and just popping off, you know? Just absolutely hard carrying the team fight. So yeah, I'm not saying this to take away anything from Guma, but what I mean is like how little chance RNG have, you know what I mean? As Gumayushi isn't even threatened. That's not a good one. Alright, we're jumping onto me. Silence is available here. T1 owner not going to come over the wall anyhow. Gumayushi decides to not throw his ultimate and pick up the kill onto the Soraka. I think it could have been a kill, honestly. Alright, T1 going to grab themselves a Mountain Dragon and flash out of Carrier here as Xiao misses everything, and that is a run it back to base, click restart. I want to restart this day out of Xiao, as he has had weak games every single game today. That's ridiculous. I mean, Faker, not the craziest games himself, but he did have just that fight, for example, where he definitely popped off. Definitely a solid job. Definitely a solid job. And just you just see how well T1's pieces work together and click into each other. The hooks, grip, and everything works. And another thing that you can have a look at a little bit is the pings and the coordination and the minimap movement. So whenever I cast, right, I do look on the big screen whenever there are team fights. But in the other time, I try to look at the minimap like 90% of the time, because you can just see how beautifully T1 are orchestrating these fights, right? They're kind of pushing RNG into this, and they're hurting them, and they're, you know, baiting them in, and they're like aggressing onto them until RNG feel like they are pushed against the wall, and then they leash back out, and T1 just takes them out by baiting them into them. Very, very solid job. And I don't know what Wei is building here, but it is build a lesbian workshop apparently. It is very weird. I don't know why you would go for Chemtech first. I don't know why. I don't know. You are not going for Divine Sandra. You are not going for Eclipse, which, you know, Eclipse at least gives him the chance to one-shot someone like Guma or Faker. You know, at least he can do something. Like, he isn't supposed to be tanky to get out of the fights. Now, I understand that he does need to get, you know, with his ultimate needs to get into the fight as well, but still. Actually, a little bit of a re-engage here by RNG, but yeah, Yone just takes it out of the park, and that is RNG just grouped up, and Gala did survive the longest time here. Xiao trying to do something, but nothing he can do. As Carrier goes golden under the turret, and Zeus is going to go down for a quadra kill. For actually an ace onto RNG, and that is just T1 not going for Baron, actually. Yeah, pretty low HP bars here. Actually, very, very solid job by T1. And I feel like Faker is kind of turning up this game. But again, like Faker is running Morello Nomicon, which is just... we have a lot of healing reduction. Now, I understand it more with Aatrox and Sylas than I understand it on Vi. Because, like, whose healing are we reducing? Like, Yon? That's like 100 damage maximum. Right? And then, I mean... Gumayushi doesn't have to heal because he doesn't get hit. Like, I think that Eclipse would be a bit better here. Because Vi, you need to go in there, you need to do damage, you know, not only just be tanky. As the, you know, Balmy Cinder is going to be picked up, so yeah, we know it is in Aegis now.
This rookie top laner who's been having a stellar year.
No, it's the Sunfire Cape, sorry. It's going to be a Sunfire Cape now. I don't know, dude. Obviously very difficult for Xiaohu to do a lot in these fights. So definitely last game, there's not much he can do to be able to reach that backline, right? And in this game also, he's just getting locked down. Obviously, Keria is always there for Gumayushi, who, I mean, he doesn't even have to be there for Gumayushi in a lot of the fights, because no one gets through the freaking frontline that is Zeus and Owner. And obviously, just Sejuani herself enables so many ridiculously strong melee matchups, as Wei is just going to be taken down. He's not much tankier than he would be with Eclipse, but at least now he also doesn't do any damage, so that is a great choice actually. Also, Balmy Cinder works absolutely amazing together with the Hextech sword. I would next time suggest a Morello Nomicon instead if you want to get healing reduction, so at least you're... But, you know, he wasn't really attacking anyway, right? So at least your healing reduction would be passively ticking off of that Balmy Cinder. I'm sorry, I'm memeing. As we finally get the replay of that team fight. It was a little bit chaotic here. I wonder why they took so long. But we are going to be oh, that's why they took so long. Oh, that's why they took so long. They had to make a movie out of Sejuani flashing away. Okay, beautifully done here. As T1 Zeus is going to take down Xiaohu, but is going to be taken down here by Gala, and that is actually a pretty big ding up here by the Gala. I wish it was a Lulu. If this was a Lulu, Gala would be much scarier actually, I would say. I might be wrong, but I would say yeah. Lulu also ridiculously good against Yon. Soraka is also good, but Soraka is not that good. Faker? Yeah, nice damage. Yes, big damage by Wei. Good that he doesn't have any... Oh yeah, the healing reduction really coming in handy here in that fight. Akali at least lost 20 HP through that, and then is Akali going to be down, but Xiaohu is going to be pressured out by Zeus out of the fight. Beautifully caught by me, because I was about to say going to go down, but he does not go down. The T1 owner will start the Baron, and that means a Baron for T1, because there's no one to stop them. Gala is doing a really solid job. I'm a big fan of Gala's play this game. Last time, not a good job at all. Right? Kaisai, he did like 500 damage, where Zeus, who was like 0 and 8 at that point, did 5k. So, you know, just the 10 times the damage out of a person that is not getting fed 300 kills. Au contraire, he's like running 180 CS or something. So, but this one, yeah, he's doing a good job. Obviously, you know, how much can you do if Sejuani and Yon are like lurking always and ready to take you down, and you do not have the Zarya at your disposal here. But yeah, definitely a very, very interesting game. I like the double stun. What is RNG doing? Why are we taking the bot lane tier 1, dude? What? Oh, that literally doesn't have nothing. Also, why is there Mercedes-Benz freaking flag, dude? What the hell? Okay, dude. How much more money do we need?
careful. Gala
Ult
forced
going
the
by
flash.
Gala is going to flash out of it. So
All of his sums.
Joe,
RNG,
though,
this is such a difficult
so
so impossible for them to clear all these waves.
that's kind of
All the
unfortunate
pressure
as
that
Wei
T1 are putting down.
And it feels like you
out of
need Gala
position
to kind
and
of be
Wei.
the final bit that can maybe carry this.
Wei?
They need that
Wei?
kills. There they go.
Lock up, knock down, carry, holding on to the ulti as long as possible. T1 not taking that as an opportunity to re-engage. Zeus to the wall, laying down a bit of damage, but leaping right back out.
I think RNG are trying to get the Tahm Kench Eve so that Xiaohu's Sejuani ult can land onto Gumayushi as the next follow-up, but it hit
Locking
Faker.
up, hitting Faker,
That's
now
rough.
trying to take Faker out of the fight entirely. Soraka healing already coming down. Carrier leaping out of the infernal chains, double stuns. Zeus
Oh, Zeus with a huge Q.
T1
Follows that up with the ultimate and the stun as well. And that was just game
T1 hungry for more.
ending here. T1 just going for the throat. Flash out of owner, collecting some skill points. Gala trying to do something, but Gala busy walking away as he is going to stun and he is going to live 5-2-1. He can say, I never died that much, so the game is not my fault. But Gala definitely a little safe in most of these fights, as he is going to be eventually taken down here by T1. GG, beautiful job, and thank you very much for listening to this cast. And if you made it all this way, then ladies and gentlemen, tell me how you liked it, and I would advise you to hit up my channel and click subscribe and activate the bell, as you appear to like the casts enough, so I will sell out to you and only you. Thank you very much for watching, and stay awesome.